Hey guys, my name is Nico. Today I'm going to show you how to create stunning tile art like this on Procreate. Don't worry about the process because the tile brush pack that we are going to use makes the whole process easier and it won't require a very long time to create something like this. So tile artworks like this are composed of multiple effect layers clipped to a base layer with our tile pattern design. Let's open our brush library and then let's select the NN tile pack. Here we have the different tile patterns available as well as the effect brushes specific to each type of pattern. Each pattern has a solid tile brush. For example, for the diagonal cut tile, it is this one. So this is what we're going to use to make our base layer. We're going to fill that layer entirely with this pattern. Next, we have the grid brush. So grid brushes are for coloring the tile grout or the gaps between the tiles. This is an optional part of the process if you want to color your tile grout. Next, we have the highlights and shadows brushes. The highlight brushes are for creating a light reflection on the tiles. So we're going to pick the color white and then we're going to brush this on a clip layer above the base layer. For the shadow brushes, these are brushes for creating a shadow effect on the tiles. We're going to pick the color black and then we're going to brush it on another clip layer above our base layer. When using the highlight and shadow brushes, make sure that you don't lift your Apple Pencil until you have completely shaded the entire canvas, otherwise the overlaps are going to be visible. Next, we have the random shade brushes. This brush is for creating a non-uniform or abstract tile coloring effect without having to recolor one tile at a time. And then the remaining brushes are your tile coloring brushes. If you want to color your tile pattern a specific way, instead of having to color drop one tile at a time, you can use these brushes instead to turn the tedious process into a quick and easy one. Next, I'm going to show you how we're going to use each type of brushes to create a piece like this. So now let's create our tile art together. On a new canvas, we are first going to pick the tile pattern that we want, then we're going to fill the entire layer with it. Let us choose this arc tile design. Let's just select the color. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to pick the tile pattern that we want, then we're going to fill the entire canvas with it. Here's a trick that I do to fill the layer faster. I zoom out the canvas so that you don't have to make very long brush strokes. But make sure that the canvas is not rotated, otherwise the brushes won't fit in together. Let's do that again. There, just a few seconds to fill the entire canvas. Next, we're going to add the highlight and shadow effects. So we're going to create two new layers with clipping mask on. Then we're going to select the color white, the highlight brush, and start brushing the entire canvas. Then we're going to select the color black, the shadow brush, and cover the entire second layer. But before we do that, let me just zoom in and show you what the brushes will do. For the highlight brush, it's going to add the light reflection, like that. Here's the before and here's the after. So I'm showing it to you zoomed in because when we zoom it out later to fill the entire canvas, you won't be able to see the effect. So for the shadows, let's choose black and then shadow brush. So from this flat tile, we're going to add some shadows. So that is the effect that these two brushes are going to add to your work. Let me just clear these layers and then start adding the highlights again. Zoom it out to make it easier. So we're just gonna shade the entire piece. Make sure you cover everything. When you're done with your highlights, switch to black and the shadow brush and fill the entire second layer. Next, let's add an abstract coloring effect using the random shade brush. So on a new layer above the base layer, we're going to select a color. Let's use black, then brush the entire canvas. And after that, we're going to adjust the opacity and blending mode. Let me hide the layer and show it again so that you'll see the difference. From everything with the same color, by just adding the brush, you get random colors from different parts of the tiles. Now, let us color our tile pattern. For this pattern, we have 4 different colors. So we're gonna choose 4 colors. I will be using a very light gray, a very dark gray, teal, and a darker teal. So now we're going to create 4 new layers above our base layer. Now we're going to pick our first color and use the first coloring brush, then we're going to brush the entire canvas. We're going to repeat the same steps for the next 3 colors. So first color, first brush, on the first layer, zoom it out, shade the entire canvas. And now you have your first color where you don't have to manually color each tile. Next, we're going to switch to the next color, the next layer, and the next brush. Do the same thing. We're going to fill the entire canvas with it. Now, color number 3 on the third layer and the third brush or coloring brush. Shade the entire canvas. And then move on to the last color, which is a darker teal, on the last layer and the last coloring brush. There you have it. Super easy to color the tile patterns on a specific way. But before we end, let us finish this with a very nice texture. So go to Tile Texture Brush Pack, and then we're going to select a texture that we want. Let's choose Dry and Polished. So we're going to add this in color black and on a new layer just below the shadows and highlights layers. So zoom it out and then let us color the entire canvas. Let's adjust the opacity a bit and the blending mode to overlay. And we are done. It's so easy to create a stunning tile art, right? Let's do a quick recap. So we started with the base layer, and then we added highlights and shadows. Then we used a random shade brush. Then we colored the tile 4 ways. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And lastly, we added a texture. Easy. So here's my artwork. I'd love to see yours too, so tag me when you share it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you want to get this pack, the link is on my website in the description below. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to create decorative square tile patterns. Bye.